it's been a couple of years now since I've actually blogged my comp prep. Now I blogged my novice year in my blog So You Think You Want to Be a Figure Competitor, and then I blogged my whole year out of rehab through double shoulder surgery and all the rest of it that fell apart, and then I blogged my comeback in 2014 on the AMB and the IMBA websites, as well as my own, through my blog Diary of a Rookie Figure Champ. But I've kind of got away from it since then, and so I thought it'd be sort of interesting to redo a competition prep blog, because it's been a while, and because this year may or may not be my last. Not saying that it is, but who knows. Last year was such a challenge with my body. I basically worked myself into the ground and crashed my whole system. I literally fell over in October and just stopped functioning. Thyroid tanked. I was hypothyroidic, or whatever it is, you know what I mean. Adrenal fatigue, stage 3 adrenal fatigue. So I literally, there was one day when I just totally crashed and I literally couldn't pick myself out of bed. But all year last year, even though I post-comped as I usually do within 6 to 8 weeks, and I hit my sort of what I thought would be my post-comp weight of about 60 odd kilos, which is sort of 5 or 6 over stage, which is where I like to hold. It kind of just went downhill from there, really, because, you know, the weight kept coming on. I eventually got up to 65, even though 65 kilos, which is like nearly 12 over comp weight, even though, you know, I put myself back on, for a good 5 to 6 weeks, I put myself back on full comp diet at a very low level that I would normally only be on sort of a couple of weeks out from a show, and the weight just wasn't shifting, and my whole body was just not responding. I even lost my periods, which is bizarre, because I've never lost my periods the whole time I've competed, yet after my last show at the end of March, that's when they stopped. I only had 2 for the whole year. So clearly there was something going on in my body. It was just not functioning. And it didn't help that I was really working sort of 65 hours a week, 7 days a week, and very, very stressed with the whole thing, in a job that I hated. So I was constantly sort of depressed, really. And then it all just culminated in me falling in a big heap in October. So since then I've sort of had to sort of pull back on everything, and really sort of, you know, I had to pull back on my training. I pulled it down to 3 times a week, because I physically couldn't cope with anything more than that. Fortunately, I've got a very good doctor who put me onto DHEA to help with my adrenals. I've also been on thyroid medication to help my thyroid, and it's taken, probably, I actually feel really quite good now, and you know, I've got to the point where I'm back training 4 times a week, and I can get through a day without having to have a nana nap. You know, at one point back in October, I'd literally get up, I'd get dressed, have a little nap, walk to the tram because it was too hard to cycle. I'd sleep all the way on the tram to work. I'd get to work, I'd have my breakfast, and I'd have another nap because I was exhausted. That would keep me going for another 20 minutes. Then I'd have another nap, you know, and it was just awful. You know, I just couldn't function. So I've come a long way from then, and another sign that my body was out of whack all last year, as you've probably seen from my Instagram feed with all my breakfasts, is the vast majority of them are sweet. You know, I've always said I don't have a sweet tooth, and yet my Instagram feed is full of pancakes. So that was another real indicator that I actually just didn't pay attention to, really, that my body was seriously out of whack. And I guess in the last probably 2 months or so, those sweet cravings have just suddenly disappeared, and that's an indication that my body is now back on track. In addition to that, I've actually had 2 periods in a row, and fingers crossed in 6 days there'll be a 3rd one, and if that's the case, we're looking good. So in short, I'm feeling in quite a good space right now, and I actually feel able to take on a comp prep, because I've actually found this brand new federation in England, and it just happens that they've got a competition in June that's just down the road from where my parents have lived. Now, the whole time I've been competing, like all around the world and winning world titles and stuff, not one member of my family has ever seen me. And it's kind of one of my bucket list things to do, is to compete in England in front of my family. and I finally found a show where I could do that. So the 3rd of June is the target, and I'll probably stay over there for a couple of weeks or so, because it turns out the UK titles for this same federation is on the 11th of June, so I might as well hang around for that. And the fact that the pictures on the website had a £1,000 cheque at the foot of the winning figure competitor is just a little bit of an incentive as well. So anyway, I've got 19 weeks. I'm at the end of week 1, and I wanted to give myself a really long prep this time around, do it really gentle, just because I've had so much issues with my body. I just wasn't sure if my body was up to it, but it seems like it's raring to go, actually, because I actually haven't quite hit the consistency of my diet yet. It's kind of been all over the place, and I'll cut the video here and I'll put up some photographs of my macros this week. So it's just been a little bit all over the place, as you'll see. That will even out. It'll become super consistent as we go through. But even despite that sort of up and downness, I lost half a kilo up to Thursday, and I did put up a post yesterday about feeling your way. It's very important to learn your body on comp prep, because every prep is different. You know, all of my preps have been completely different, and I think this one will be different again. But there's a certain commonality that I've seen coming through it, and I get these, once my body's in prep mode, I get these feels. And I did put up a post yesterday about paying attention to those feels. So anyway, Thursday I felt light, so I weighed myself and I'd lost half a kilo, which is perfect. You know, I usually aim for quarter to half a kilo a week, and I've got about 7 kilos to lose in 19 weeks, so that's ideal. So I was like really happy, bang on track. And then on yesterday, I just felt a bit light again, and out of curiosity hopped on the scales, and I'd lost another 0.4 since Thursday, and and Thursday was my refeed. You know, I always do a refeed meal, and Thursday's refeed was a chicken and brie burger with sweet potato fries and herbed mayo, and quinoa covered fried avocado, and a coconut ice cream for pudding. So there was probably about 2,000 calories just in that one meal, and then I lost 0.4 of a kilo in the following 2 days. So I've lost nearly a kilo for this whole week. So it looks like things are on track already. I hope this continues. It'll be interesting to see, because I've actually just this week finished my thyroid medication. I'm out of my thyroid medication, so it'll be interesting to see actually how my metabolism does carry on. I can't get to see my doctor for another 2 weeks, so it'll be interesting to see if this week has been a result of the fact that I guess I'm still propped up to a degree with the thyroid medication, or whether I'm genuinely back on track. Anyway, so it's going to be an interesting ride. I'm going to try and I've got some pictures. I've took some photographs of me, which I'll just put up into this video as well, in my poses, and it's a bit brave of me to do that. I haven't been feeling very good about my body, and as you can see, it's not quite there yet. We've got a way to go, but we'll do it. So anyway, follow along. I'd love to hear how you're going, and please put up any comments or suggestions of what you want me to go through. I'll probably go through my diet, how I set it up, how I work it, how I work in my lovely breakfasts, because I also put up a lovely breakfast post yesterday. I'll probably go through my training in a bit. So, but if there's anything particularly you'd like me to talk about, just drop me I'll probably put all this up in YouTube. I haven't decided yet, but wherever I put it, add some comments and let me know what you want to know about, and I'll talk to you all the way through my prep. And fingers crossed this is going to be a good one, because I'm really looking forward to it. I'm very excited that I'm finally going to be competing in England, and as most of you know, I can never do one competition, so I think I've got a monster season planned in mind. There's something I might do in May. There's a couple of shows I want to do in July, maybe something in August. I've got shows coming out of my ears, so stay tuned. I think it's going to be really interesting, this one. So yeah, follow along, and I'll talk to you again next week. Okay, take care.